What is going on, Broncos Country? This is the debut episode of the Orange and Blue Debrief, brought to you by the War Room here live in the JBW Solutions studios. So we're going to be hanging out with you guys for about 30 minutes. We're going to talk a little training camp action and kind of what to look for as the Broncos wrapped up day 2. So again, if you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to follow the channel. Comments will be answered tonight as we're talking training camp for the Broncos. Big day today. Last few days, actually, for the Broncos have been big days as guys are stepping up, guys are standing out. As you would expect, there's going to be a few names to keep an eye out for. So again, I am Cory here with West War Room Rivals as we're debuting the Orange and Blue Debrief. So let's dive in. If you guys were able to, I was on with Mile High Monsters, Mike, and those guys. Very fun episode this morning as we talked. We had a chance to see the end of Bo Nix's press conference today. I had a chance to listen to Sean talk as well. There's a lot of excitement out there in Denver, as there should be. Again, lots of acquisition with Jalen Waddle. So again, we'll break all of that stuff down for you guys. So make sure you guys are active in the comments tonight as we will be answering questions and comments on the go. So we're about 30 minutes. So let's kind of dive into it. So we listened to Bo talk today, and again, it was a good press conference from him. It's a big year for Bo, year 3. We talked a lot on our show about year 3 is a very important year for Bo to take that next step. Obviously, we know the injury, getting to the AFC Championship game where we weren't able to have Bo. And he was asked today about, is there going to be any thoughts when he's running about the ankles? And he was very open and upfront about, he's still going to keep doing him. He's still going to keep running the football. And we talked about this a lot last season. We needed to see him, use those legs. That's another added element to the game, to the offense, when he's able to get out on the move with that. So, again, I know the ankle surgery and everyone's wondering about that ankle, but it seems like he's a confident guy. He's going to continue to run the football when needed. And, again, Davis Webb now calling the plays, calling the shots. Let's see if they put Bo in a better position to do this. So, this is, so as you all know, great episode with this guy today. Mike, huge help. He's been great to the War Room channel. Guys, go check his stuff out. We had a great conversation today, a lot of good in-depth conversation regarding training camp, the excitement for Jalen Waddle, what the offense is going to look like. We talked this morning in depth about this is different. This is a different feel. In the last few seasons, we talked about the offense has been slow start to training camp. The reports have always been, the defense won the day. The defense won the day. The defense is way ahead of where the offense is. We haven't heard that. We haven't heard that at all. It's been kind of opposite of that. The offense is flying around. The offense is hitting, big plays, right? There's 50-yard touchdown, 60-yard touchdown. There's even a 70. So, again, the offense is clicking. I think at the end of the practice today, they did a 2-minute where the defense did end up winning that one. I think it was the offense was down 4. They do a 2-minute drill, and I think they came up short on that one. So the defense prevailed in that one. But again, this is just helmets and shorts. So the pads come on next week. Sean talked about that. You're going to start seeing a lot of, names. Now when the pads come on, that's when you're going to start seeing, the bigger plays. You're going to start seeing more from the offense and defensive lines. You're going to start seeing more from the edge rushers. Basically what we talked, Mike and I talked in Link today, this is just 7-on-7, 11. I know they do 11-on-11s, but it's a glorified scrimmage at that point. Hands off, no contact, guys just getting the feel, getting their legs back underneath them. So Cody checking in at work, getting that bread. Hey, got to do what we got to do, right? We got to do what we got to do. It's, we got to keep working. So again, appreciate Cody and Mike hopping in here. So again, if you're in here, guys, put the comments and questions in there. We'll answer them on the go. And if you're new, continue to subscribe. I believe we're now over 650 subscribers. That's been a huge goal. That was our goal by the end of July, and we missed, August 1st, and we still hit that goal. Absolutely bumping. Great work going on behind the scenes from our team. Ethan, Cody, Austin, Matt. Those guys are holding the War Room down as well. So back into training camp. So again, we just talked about the offense, staying ahead, right? The offense is coming out strong. Jalen Waddle, all those guys. Bo Nix look great. Talk about the QB2 battle. It's looked like Sam Ehlinger took a lot of the second team reps today away from Jared Stidham. Going in, we talked a lot about, was Stiddy going to be the guy? He didn't have that strong showing, obviously, in the postseason. We tried to hype tried to hype Steady Time up. It didn't really work out that way. So this QB2 battle is going to be one to keep an eye out for. Sam Ehlinger obviously had some good throws today. I believe he hit Marvin Mims on one, and I believe Hakeem Butler on another. So good to see Sam, again, that backup QB position could come and play, right? So again, there's a lot of battles that we're going to be looking for, and there's going to be a lot of questions that we're going to start getting answers to over the next couple of weeks, especially with padded practice. I believe it starts Monday, and then Wednesday they're going to get that full 2.5-hour practice of full pads. So that's really when they're going to start working. This is when, guys are going to start separating themselves here, because we're only 2 weeks out from the first preseason game for the Broncos. Getting real football. Real football is almost here. All right. So again, a lot of questions. So, when you look at some of the position battles, we talked a lot this offseason regarding the receivers, right? Mike and I talked this morning. We talked a lot about Marvin Mims. He obviously has been standing out the first couple of days. It's one of those where we were thinking Troy Franklin, but now that conversation's kind of shifted. It's shifted over to Marvin Mims now, and I haven't heard much about Troy Franklin the first couple of days. That is not really a big issue, right? So it's one of those where, we got to get Marvin the ball. Marvin's been that kind of piece that I've been, kind of pounding the table for the last couple of years. I didn't like how Sean would use him. There was a couple of times where I thought, where Sean was putting him on the field, where we were putting him, how we were using it, the play design. I thought maybe that was going to work, but then it kind of went away from some of that. So I'd like to see Marvin Mims get utilized correctly, because I think he could be a huge asset to this offense. That with the addition of Jalen Waddle, that's going to open up that much more. So again, we know what Jalen Waddle is going to bring. Obviously, he's been standing out the first couple of days of said training camp. Him and Bo having great chemistry already. And again, this receiver room is going to be fun, right? Hopefully the drop situation gets handled, but it doesn't seem like that's been an issue so far. So, Austin the GOAT, even if he is a spy for Andy Reid. Yeah, Austin's also, he's been paying attention to what the Chiefs are doing. So we're going to have a lot of good breakdowns for you guys over the next couple of weeks on our show when we get the whole team back together. If you guys missed it earlier, Ethan did his show, the Aftershock. He was at training camp for the Chargers today, so make sure you guys go check that episode out and see his full good breakdown of what he saw at the Chargers camp today. We have the receivers who can run and run. And again, you have what you need, right? Like you have your burner, Jalen Waddle. You have the middle of the field guy, which I'm expecting to be, an Evan Ingram, Jolie. And then, Marvin Mims could also be that. Pat Bryant. I heard a lot of good things about Pat today. I think the first couple of passes, I do agree with that. I think Davis Webb should be on the sideline for the play calling, and they'll make the correct adjustments for that. Whatever Bo's comfortable with and whatever helps that offense out. But I think for something like this, a first-time guy calling plays, I like the idea of keeping him on the sideline so Bo can have him there to talk to when needed after each possession. And then the other thing for the offense that I wanted to touch on was J.K. Dobbins spoke with media yesterday and promised a 17-game season. Look, man, it's hard to hate this guy. There's always a smile on his face. He loves being a Bronco. You want guys like that. I truly believe him when he says he was meant to be a Bronco. Him and Sean, he loves Sean Payton. I want this guy to stay healthy. The offense needs this guy to stay healthy. We were able to see what he was able to do in Sean Payton's offense when he was healthy, as he was a top 5 runner when he went down with that injury, and he was on pace to have a damn good season as well. There's ways to get him to a 17-game season. Now, injuries can happen at any time, especially when you have an injury-prone guy like him and who hasn't played a full season. You have 3 other running backs that you can use. You can utilize JK correctly. You don't have to overload him. He doesn't need to be a guy to get 25 to 30 touches a game. Keep him in that 10 to 15 touch range. Build it, see what you get, because you have obviously Jonah Coleman and RJ Harvey, who was making obviously some good plays in the passing game today, as he was hit for a touchdown on a wheel route. So again, we know RJ Harvey's strength in the receiving game as that guy. Jonah Coleman obviously had some good, he's the blitz pickup guy. So again, there is ways that you can help sustain J.K. Dobbins and keep him healthy. And I think that's limiting his touches the first part of the season, build him up and get him there as, the season goes along. Mike has mentioned 1,200 yards rusher. I would just give me 17 games. Let's see what happens if you can get me 17 games. I liked how they used him at the first part of last season, right? They were limiting in what he was doing. They were being smart with it. And again, injuries happen at any time. It's just a part of the game, but you need him. And your hope is Jonah Coleman and or RJ Harvey can, split in, right? Like, we were able to see RJ struggle. The run game went downhill once JK went down. So you've got to be able to run the football effectively. And RJ's got to take that next step. He's got to take the next step. He's got to learn how to run the football. And we got to see what Jonah Coleman can do. You're going to see a lot of Jonah Coleman in the preseason. You still got Tyler Burdett, McLaughlin, one of those guys. They're going to keep somebody. One of those guys is out, right? They're not going to keep every single one of these guys. I don't think that they would be able to stash one on the practice squad. So we'll pay attention to that running back room, see what happens. We know it's going to be JK, RJ, and Jonah. So who's going to be that fourth guy? Is it going to be Jaleel? Is it going to be Tyler Burdett? I'm leaning towards McLaughlin. We saw signs from McLaughlin last year. The personnel changes, he just wasn't able to get comfortable with it, but that's because they're so desperate to try to get that run game going. So it'll be very interesting to see how they handle that one as well. So that's another position battle. There's a lot of position battles to pay attention to as we get in. We won't get into all of it tonight. This is just episode 1 of the Orange and Blue Debrief. So if you're new in here, please continue to hit that subscribe button, share this out with everybody. You guys have been great. This is just a way of us expanding the war room. So we're still going to continue to do the war room shows. We just, that you get little bits and pieces from each team during those episodes. The point of having these shows, Aftershock with the Chargers and Ethan, what he's doing, the Orange and Blue Debrief here. Blue Austin's working on doing one for the Chiefs as well. This is just a full episode of us getting to break down our teams a little bit more in depth than what we would be able to do on the war room. But the war room's still going strong. It's still going to go strong. We're still working on that. We're just doing things, expanding essentially. So this one's all Broncos tonight. So again, we're going to continue to get into some of the position battles that we're watching. Some of the names that are popping up here the first couple of days: Brent Austin, an undrafted free agent, making plays already. We always know that there's going to be the one guy. There's usually one or two guys that kind of stick to the roster that are undrafted out of that rookie class. This is one who's kind of making a name quickly. And again, we know this is a deep position for the Broncos, but again, you're going to have some decisions that you're going to have to make here in the next year or so. We've got contracts coming up. J-Mac, I expect J-Mac hopefully to be a priority to sign. And then obviously with Riley Moss, we'll see what happens with Riley. Here's the thing, guys. You're not going to be able to keep everybody. That's just not how this works. You're going to have some big contracts coming up over the next couple of seasons. So you're going to have to rely on some of these younger guys to step up and step in to some of these roles. And Brent is a name to watch for as an undrafted rookie out of Cal. Richie, welcome in. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. So again, guys, I'm looking to answer some questions over in the comments. So if you have them, drop them. We got about 15 minutes left here in the debut episode tonight. Very excited to do this. We'll do more as we get through more training camps, preseasons, and whatnot. So again, we are breaking it down for you guys here tonight as we're diving into some more of the position battles. Look, linebacker is going to be another thing we got to look out for. Alex Singleton, Justin Stranad, but who are going to be those guys that fill in on the back end of that. No Drew Sanders. There's some names out there that it's not looking too good for those guys. He continuously is hurt. He's been a no-show so far due to injuries. And again, it's a very thin position. And I was very disappointed in the lack of attention that the Broncos put towards that linebacker room this offseason. I know you got Terry York, you got Red Murdoch, you got some of those guys that, you're hoping they can stick and they can make through the roster. So we have to see what's it going to look like behind those two guys. No, not that we did a couple shows this week. We did one last night. We had Locked On Chargers host on with us, David. David was great. Talked a lot of Chargers football last night and their outcome and their outlook for the season. We did a secondary positional breakdown for the AFC West earlier this week as well. So again, it's full on right now. We're a full court press at the War Room. It's going to be going, full court press right now. Ethan did a show earlier tonight, his Aftershock. which is his Chargers podcast that branches off from the War Room. He was at the Chargers training camp, so he broke that down. Cody's in the middle of moving. He's getting a new house. So he's kind of, doing that. We have lives, right? But Cody will be back with us. And then Austin, obviously, does the 2 shows with us, and he's busy booking guests and getting sponsorship stuff taken care of as well. So, as much as I'm not scary enough to scare those guys away, they're just we're busy, and again, it's only gonna get busier. So we have to make sure that we have our personal stuff in order, and what we're doing here. So again, very excited with the direction the War Room's going. We're absolutely just taking off right now, guys. We went over 650 subs on YouTube. Hats off to you guys. We appreciate the love, the support. You guys have been absolutely killing it for us. So again, we are just getting started. We have no intentions of slowing down. We're gonna keep pushing along. So keep the questions coming in. This one: who are you the most surprising cut you think could actually occur for the Broncos? This is a good question. And we had talked about, towards the off season, right? At the beginning of the off season, after the season it ended, Evan Ingram's name was floated around as a possible cut candidate. Ben Powers just took a massive pay cut. That could make him more attractive in a possible trade. Could he be a trade guy, a trade candidate? He's in a battle with Palcho, who's a very versatile offensive lineman as well, who's another young guy. Cage Casey, they drafted Cage Casey, Boise State. So I'm looking at a Ben Powers. Look, I would like to keep the offensive line intact. This has been, the same starting 5 for a while now. Evan Ingram, as Richie just comes in, Ingram is the guy I think is gone. That would actually surprise me a little bit. But again, you got to think long-term. You got to think money-wise, which Denver has plenty of money right now. It's not like they're looking to cut and save cap and save salary on certain things. I actually will, as of right now, I'll say Evan Ingram does make the team, but I think that's going to determine, this Taysom Hill signing, Justin Jolie. We know Adam Troutman, Sean Payton loves Adam Troutman, and, it was Stiddy. Stiddy's one. Yeah. I think this one's more realistic. And again, don't look too much into Ehlinger getting second team reps today. This is probably intentional. Sean's probably going to move these guys around quite a bit. So you'll probably see City go back to second team reps and Ehlinger. So you'll see those 2 guys flip flopping quite a bit. But I'm fairly confident that this was a scheduled, switch just to see, right? This is all this is right now. This is a big evaluation period. You're seeing reps. They're albeit, not padded. They're shorts and helmets, but I think that they do like Sam Ehlinger. And again, I don't want to say that the playoff game hurt Stiddy's chances of being that. I just think it's one of those where you got to have that backup quarterback that can come in and keep you your head above water. Now, it's not every day you're going to see your backup quarterback have to come in the AFC Championship game, but you have to do right by this team, and you got to have that guy that backs up Bo Nix, someone that you can trust. So, yeah, we had mentioned that this morning too, Richie, and you may have been on there watching when we were talking about the Taysom Hill thing coming in and possibly being the reason. I don't know. I really don't. And I'll pull the comment up here real quick so everyone can see it. If we bring in Hill, I think that us moving on from City, keeping Sam, and then having Hill as our Swiss Army knife versatile guy, that's a very good possibility. And I don't know what the cap saving would be, because I know he was, I think, $8 million. Stiddy was scheduled to make $8 million, which is pretty high for a backup quarterback. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, I think if Taysom Hill, that could be a spot that Taysom Hill could take if he's brought in, when he's brought in, I guess we could say. I know Sean commented on it a little bit today, so I think everyone kind of knows that's probably the direction. 12 million. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in that 8 to 12 million range. Look, and I know Sean loves Stidham. I know they go back, and he had talked about he's wanting them in New Orleans, but again, this playoff game probably didn't help his cause with that. And again, if Sam Ehlinger continues to get those second team reps, which I still think in my mind they're still going to flip flop those, And then obviously those two guys are going to play most of the preseason. So it's going to come down to who can have the better preseason. I believe Stidham had a pretty good preseason last year, if I remember correctly. I don't really remember much of Ellinger. I know we had him on the team. I just don't remember seeing much or remembering much of Ellinger in the preseason last year and whatnot. So that'll be a very, very intriguing and fun matchup to see because, again, I know how Broncos Country is feeling with that. So, again, this Taysom Hill thing can bring so many different things to this offense and what it means. I said earlier that I thought with Taysom Hill, you know, those 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, 4th and inches, 4th and 1s, Taysom Hill would be a perfect guy to come in and just be the tush push guy, get you those yards. Because I don't think you want to put Bo in those positions to try to do, you know, the QB sneaks and risk anything with that. I get it. You know, you don't want any injuries can happen anytime, so you don't want to see that happen. But Taysom Hill would be able to bring in another thing that you'd have to pay attention to on those short yardage. Denver was not good in those short yardage. It seems like anytime they had the 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, it was just either not a good play call and or they you know, it just wasn't very good. And we got to be obviously you don't want Jeremy Crawshaw leading the league in punts again. So you got to be able to extend plays. You got to be able to help your defense out, give them breathers. You can't keep having the quick 3 and outs. Keep having the slow starts to the games. I know that the first 3 quarters were typically not the best for the Broncos. They always came out, you know, and the scripted plays just weren't quite there. And then the 4th quarter rolled around. Let's just get to the 4th quarter. Well, we don't want to do that anymore. And Sean Payton's alluded to that. He said we can't keep winning these 1-score games. We're going to have to find ways. You know, we got to start blowing teams out and winning by more than just 1 score. So they know it. They're smart. We have a smart coaching staff, guys. They know that this offense has to be better. They know this offense has to start quicker. They have to be better. And it's $4.5 million savings at this point. Yeah, and again, I don't think Denver's really truly looking for cap space. They have, I think, $30+ million right now. I don't know if there's another move coming. I don't know if there's any other free agents that they may look at bringing in. I do know that they have some extensions that they need to work on, J-Mac being one of those. You know, are they going to extend Marvin Mims? Is Marvin Mims going to be a Bronco? We don't know. Those are the questions that we have to get. You know, there for a little bit, I actually thought Marvin Mims would be a trade candidate. And then we started talking a little bit more that if Denver's going to keep Marvin Mims, then they need to really consider signing him now because it's going to be cheaper to sign him now than if he gets to the free agency because teams are going to jack that price up. And you don't want to lose a guy like Marvin Mims to another contender. The Chiefs would be on this, Buffalo, the Rams, Ravens. Marvin Mims would still have a market because he's a good player and a good gadget player that can bring a little bit more dynamic stuff to some of these offenses that have those quarterbacks that can get the ball down the field and push the ball. Marvin Mims is also a very good special teams player. Some of these teams could use the special teams help. So if you want Marvin Mims to be cheap, you need to work on Marvin Mims now and not let him get to that free agent market when teams can drive that price up. He's not going to give you a hometown discount. If there's a team that's going to offer him $13, $14 million, that he's going to take that because Denver's not going to give him that. If you can get him extended now, I think you could get Marvin Mims for $8 to $10 million a season, maybe 11 max. That would be fine. But I still think if you let Marvin Mims get to free agency, one of these other contending teams, especially I think the Chiefs, Marvin Mims would be a prototypical Andy Reid type of player. Andy Reid would have so many different play designs for him. So again, I would like to see Marvin Mims stay on this team. And then next one, who on the roster is a true backup returner, not just an undrafted free agent? We saw what happened when he went down. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I think Tyler Bidet was another guy that they put back in kick returns last year. That could be a way for him to make the team. You can look at, I'm not sure they would put Troy Franklin back there. I know that with Marvin Mims possibly having a bigger role, I think Marvin Mims having a bigger role, you're not going to necessarily want to see him in special teams as well. So, you can look at, like a Troy Franklin. I know PS2's been pounding the table. That'll never happen. Even though I know he's been asking to do some punt returns. I'd have to see what other people, but I look at like Tyler Bidet as a guy that could possibly do those as well. Jaleel McLaughlin, another guy. And then you see Marvin Mims as a Bill if he's let walk. Yeah, again, Bills would definitely be on the list of teams that would take him or look at him. I just think if you're a contending team that has receiver needs like the Bills, Chiefs, even the Ravens, and then just Sean McVay in general, having a receiver like a Marvin Mims with that offense and what the Rams, kind of the style of offense that the Rams run, Marvin Mims would fit in beautifully with what Sean McVay does. So yeah, I mean, Bills would definitely be one of the top 3 teams I think would be after Marvin Mims if Marvin Mims were to get to free agency, which is, again, why you're going to probably hear me talk over the next few weeks of we've got to get Marvin Mims taken care of now, because I think that price is just going to continue to go up. And it may not even be that, what he's doing. It may just be because, the teams are like, we're going to price him out of what the Broncos can offer him. So again, I look at J-Mac as a priority. Marvin Mims is there. And then again, we've got it. I'm still as of right now, I'm in the camp of, we got to look at Bo Nix's extension after this season. If Bo Nix can get the Broncos to a Super Bowl, if Bo Nix can get them to another AFC Championship game, you got to lock him up now. I mean, I don't know necessarily if that's going to change what the price and the cost of him is going to be. But I think, getting your quarterback locked up long term, this team already is behind 10. They love 10. They know Bo's the guy. Take care of your quarterback now, right? Take care of your quarterback now. I don't think he's going to be one of those where you're going to reset the market with him, but I do think he could be pushing the $45 to $50 million. So again, you're going to have the cap space. You might as well get it done. So we got to look at this in the offseason. Is that something that they're just going to knock off the board right away? Or is it something, that they may play it out one more season? But I think if you get to another AFC Championship game with Bo, or you get to a Super Bowl, you're going to have to look at getting Bo Nix's contract extended after this season. And then Richie's killing it. You guys better catch up with Richie. If you're in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, better get those comments coming in. Our offense has not been great despite having great O-line. What is the biggest reason for that? I'm looking, again, and we can look at JK's injury last year because we were running the football very effectively with JK. And then when JK went down, it kind of took the air out of the sails a little bit because we just didn't have that running back that could get the, production. We weren't getting the production. RJ wasn't really running the football well at that time. He was more of, trying to bounce it outside when he was making the wrong reads, essentially. He was going outside instead of cutting inside. Bo was extending it. And then you look at the drops. They were second in the NFL in drops, and those drops were in key, crucial situations, man. Like you look at it, it was the third downs, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8. You'd have Cortland Sutton wide open in the middle of the field, and they drop it. Those are killer. Those are crucial mistakes. And then I think the play design, I think the play calling was very inconsistent last year. And Mike and I were actually talking about this on his show earlier. It seemed like Sean Payton was coaching to not lose. It's like he knew he was going to win the game, but he was just, the play calls were so bland and just uncreative at times, where it just seemed like he was just trying not to show too much for some reason. And the screenplays were just too predictable. His play calling was just getting too predictable, which was weird. And it was weird to see that they just wouldn't make the correct adjustments. We were asking for certain things at certain times, and it wouldn't happen. So I think a lot of that has to play into it a little bit. So again, it's there's a lot of things that you can look at as far as the offense goes schematically last year. I don't think that they were aggressive in certain times. The times where they would, they'd win the toss and they'd take the ball and they'd go. I think with this offense is going to be, it's going to be a breath of fresh air this season. And it's not a dig. It's still going to be Sean Payton's base offense, but you're already seeing motions out at camps. You're seeing guys go in motion. You're seeing certain things out that Sean Payton just wasn't that guy. Sean Payton didn't like the motions. He didn't use it. I think the Broncos were one of the least motioned offense. Now you're going to see a little bit more of that. So I always say it's going to be Sean Payton's base offense, but it's going to be more modernized. You're going to see more modern style offense with Davis Webb, and he's going to put his own little wrinkle to this. And again, you're going to see motions. You're going to see trying to mismatch. You're going to see the guys go in motion. And that's why I'm looking at Jalen Waddle and Marvin Mims also being lined up in the backfield, trying to get them matched up with the linebacker and or a safety. So playing the chess match, right? Trying to put guys into mismatches, try to, scheme guys open. You can't just rely on certain things, and it's okay that you have to modernize things. You can't run the same stuff over and over and over. The NFL is constantly changing, and I think this is going to be a good thing for the Broncos. And the next one, Martin, thank you for that comment. The Broncos may be all in on Marvin Mims this year with the idea of letting him go in free agency next year. Returner may be next year's problem to fill. Yeah. And again, they may let him walk. I think that, again, I think he could be beneficial to the Broncos. I think if he's used correctly, he could be a really good receiver. Now, if you let him go and you let him get to a contender, to an Andy Reid, some of these other guys, is it one of those where you kind of just live with it? Maybe. So we'll see. And then it's been said already, but one play wide receiver can turn around an offense like Diggs. Yeah, I agree with this. That is an absolute. I 100% agree with this. And again, what he's going to be able to do for this offense is not only going to be beneficial to Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, all these. It's Evan Ingram, the tight ends as well. He's going to be able to get the middle of the field cleared for these guys to come underneath, and then they kind of creeping up. Now you're going to have the ball over the top. So again. And it's going to help the running game, right? They're going to have to, get creative with it. And I think they will. So again, good. You're spot on with that, Martin. We appreciate that. Yeah. Again, guys, I got a few more minutes here. We're not going to stay in for the whole hour, just a few more minutes. So again, as Cody said, smash the like button, everybody hit that subscribe button. I believe I just saw 657 subs now. So we've absolutely cruising well past our goal. Now our goal is to get to 700 by the start of the season. Hell, at this rate, I kind of want to start getting to 1K. Let's get us to 1K. You guys have been fantastic. So I'll take a couple more questions or comments in the comment section as we wrap up here tonight. So again, to reset, I'm Cory, West War Room Rivals co-host. All right. This is just a branch off the War Room. The War Room's still going strong. We're still going to be back with our episodes this upcoming week. 100. Oh man. Yeah. Give me. Yeah. I want what Cody said right there. That's what we want, man. Again, this has been a great, and what we have planned for the War Rooms, it's bigger than just the War Room itself. We've got shows that we're going to be adding to it. I'm still going to do the TikTok lives throughout the week as well. We're going all in. I'm going to call it the full court press here on the War Room. Cause we have a lot of goals here that we're trying to get to. And, I think with the interactions that we've been able to have with you guys, and it's getting crazier by the minute. So again, continue to hit the subscribe button. Again, let's get to 1,000. Let's just get to 1,000 by the start of the season. Let's start setting loftier goals. This is getting beyond what we could have ever imagined, and that's a big shout out to you guys. It's Cody, Martin, all you guys, Richie in the comments. Mike, who's been a huge help to our show as well. So Broncos Country, I love you guys. You guys have been fantastic. It's going to be a fun season. And next week when I come back on the Orange and Blue Debrief, we'll start talking a little bit more on the defensive side of what they're doing. And again, it's going to be a full week of practice. So we're going to have a lot more stuff to talk about next time. Yeah, again, we're trying to work our way. We're trying to work our way to this. We still have, there's a couple more things that we still have to get to on YouTube before we can do this, but we're slowly trying. We're slowly getting there. And I can promise you what these guys are doing behind the scenes, what Cody, Ethan, and Austin and Matt have been doing behind the scenes has been absolutely just killer. All right. If you guys haven't checked out our stuff, I do encourage you guys to go look at all of our socials, not just YouTube. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook. Facebook's been crazy. We've a lot of stuff. So yeah, video views are getting there too. We've I think we need to hit the 1,000 subscribers and I think 5,000 watch hours, and I think or 3,000 watch hours, and I think we're only 200 hours away from that. So then after that, then we can go to the views. Yeah, YouTube is very picky with it, so it's crazy. And again, that's why you're going to start seeing more of our shows. We're going to start doing way more. We're going to post more. Ethan with his Aftershock. So again, what we have planned goes well beyond the War Room and what we're doing here. And again, the War Room's still going to be here. We're still going to do our Tuesday, Wednesday episodes, our Sunday morning pregame show, breaking that all down for you guys. But we're going to start breaking it off into the team-specific shows as well, just because we don't get a chance to talk about everything that we want to, because we want to respect the other guys on the show. So this is our way of branching out, talking a little bit more about the Broncos. Yeah, Cody, you gotta check those goals daily, and we do. And again, as everybody, Ethan handles most of our YouTube videos. So when he's posting on YouTube, then we kind of go. Cody will throw the Facebook and IG. Austin's on X, and then I take care of our TikTok channel. So yeah, man, it's getting there. Hey, with this, you got to start somewhere. Just spun your channel up. Got a long way to go. You get there. You just got to keep going. It's a journey. It's a journey. We talked with David last night, and David was, he's been at it for, a long time, and it's a grind. It takes you a few years to get there. So, guys, as we wrap this up tonight, I do want to take a moment to shout out to you guys in the comment section. Again, make sure you guys keep sharing this out. You'll keep seeing me here on Saturday nights throughout the season as well. We are going to do a reaction show after every Broncos game during the regular season too, and I'm hoping to have my comrade Matt back with me. So again, we'll do this. So again, we'll do a reaction show after every game. I'll do a TikTok live. We'll start drilling these numbers and getting these up. But I do encourage you guys to continue to share this out with your friends and your followers as well. And if there's anything the War Room can do, make sure you guys tag us in your videos, and we'll share those out for you guys as well. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for making the debut of the Orange and Blue Debrief a good one, and I hope to see you guys next week.